Finish him!
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful and phenomenal day today. We had one of the most wild mornings for Bitcoin I have ever seen. Look at what happened right here. So essentially, Bitcoin was sitting at around $45,000, right? Then out of nowhere, we have this massive dump all the way down to about 43,000, and then we instantly pump back up all the way above the $45,000 level that we started at, up to $45,700. So what is going on? Why did this happen? Well, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. There was some news that came out right down here that sent Bitcoin absolutely skyrocketing above levels that we had even seen yesterday. Now, before we get into what is going on right now, I will talk about that. However, there is still a warning, and I don't want everyone to be getting too excited right now. I am excited to see Bitcoin, putting in some of this price action that it has recently. However, there is still a little bit of concern that we need to pay attention to, and I do want to share that with you so that you are educated and you can make your own decision, moving forward, whether or not you want to buy, trade this, what's going on. In fact, there is one very popular cryptocurrency analyst right now who still thinks that Bitcoin is going to $20,000, and he does not believe that we are going to see $100,000 Bitcoin this year. I would love to hear your opinion on that. You know how I feel. We'll play that clip later in the video. So we're going to talk about that, but we also have some amazing bullish crypto news coming out, not just for Bitcoin, but also for the overall cryptocurrency space, DeFi, NFTs, and the Metaverse specifically. So we're going to talk about all that today. Obviously, we got to talk about why we're seeing this crazy Bitcoin price action. Very important. Pay attention. And without further ado, let's dive in to the charts. But first, I want to say thank you so much to everyone who has been liking, subscribing, and commenting. You guys are awesome. You rock. You're the reason that I make these videos. And if you're a new subscriber, thank you so much again. And make sure you also check out the links below. We do have a free Telegram group you can check out and all that other fun stuff. But let's talk about what happened. So we actually were hitting some critical resistance. And if you guys want to see where that is right here, essentially, this is the issue that we're having. So you can see where these two purple lines are intersecting, right? So we have this horizontal right here, and you can see it acted as the support right here. It acted as support resistance in this area. It acted as resistance here, and it is also actually a little bit support back here. I didn't even see that. And it's also acting as resistance right here as well. Now, not only do we have, this level right here, that's very important, but also this intersection is happening exactly at this level right here, where you can see we had this support, we wicked down again, this major capitulation wick right here, we also had that support. Look, as soon as we fell below it, acted as resistance, and it is acting as resistance again. So this is sort of the short-term warning that we're seeing, is that we're having, this point intersecting with this point intersecting. You can see right here, right, where that acted as a big problem for Bitcoin, where we fell from around 44 all the way down to 33. And you can currently see right now, we're having a similar issue, right? So that's just what I wanted to just short-term mention, that we do need to break above this $45,200 level, and we do need to hold above that level for Bitcoin to be bullish. Now, I will show you how you could trade this if you're interested in just a bit. Also, don't forget, if you guys are interested in trading, there's $8,000 in bonuses. I do have a tutorial popping above, but we'll get to that in just a second. So why did we see this? Look at this. This chart is crazy right now. But why did we see this pump initially? So the resistance that I just showed you is very important, which is why we are being held down. But essentially, what came out this morning, and this is from Lynn Alden, Investment Strategy. I love listening to Lynn Alden. She's an incredibly intelligent economist. And she says consumer price inflation came in hot today at almost 7.5% year over year. Official inflation currently has its biggest gap over short-term interest rates since 1951. People holding cash in a bank or T-bills over the past year lost over 7% of their purchasing power. Now, we actually saw inflation coming in at around 7%. Now we're looking at around 7.5%. So if we continue this trend of 0.5%, you're looking at 1% every 2 months, which is essentially saying that if the Fed doesn't come in and do something soon, you're looking at 6% again this year on top of the, I mean, this is just madness, guys. This is absolutely insane. And you can even see right here, the US dollar, okay, actually did hit this resistance right here, which we spoke about. Well, I'm zoomed into the daily, but if you guys go back to yesterday's video, I mean, I can show you real quick if you guys really want to see. So essentially we get this because if we come all the way back here, right, we do have this, I got to go actually zoom out more than this. The dollar's been falling for quite some time, my friends. So, you know, essentially we had this up here and then we had the resistance, okay? So that's essentially how we got that. But, you know, if you look at what's happening right now, I mean, this took a massive plummet. And look at this, guys. It tried to break above this key level right here, right? Now, we had multiple support. Look at all the times the dollar was supported. And this is dating all the way back to November of last year. And look at this, guys. We tried to break above it. We can't break above it. The dollar is struggling. Inflation is running rampant. And Bitcoin had this massive reaction to it. Now, as I did say, you know, short term, we have a lot of resistance right now. Be very, very careful for Bitcoin. And, you know, the other thing that I wanted to point out, and I've been saying this, we do have the CME futures gap down here. We know it's a meme at this point, but it does tend to get closed. This is sitting at around, you know, in order to close this, you're looking roughly around $40,700. So I still think short term, you're probably going to see Bitcoin at least come down and retest that $40,000 level, minimally $40,700. Now, there are a lot more bearish predictions out there. We'll get to that in just a minute. We'll talk about this particular analyst, but you can see that we have, in fact, put in the quote-unquote death cross on the moving averages, right? Now, the last time we did that was July of last year, and we were already in a downfall, but from the time that we actually did see that death cross, we still fell another 13%. You know, roughly from around $34,000 to $30,000 before having the blast off. Now, I don't particularly think that this is bearish, okay? I think that what we're seeing is a very similar structure to what we saw back here. It looks very similar moving average action, similar price action, except you can see that we stayed here a lot longer, whereas this consolidation really only lasted from January to yeah, it only lasted a few weeks, 2 weeks, really. Whereas over here, we stayed down there for 2 months. So it wouldn't be impossible to sort of see something where we had this, you know, we had this pump here and then we came back down before the big breakout. We could see something very similar where, you know, we came up here, we come back down before the big breakout, putting in not only a double bottom on the smaller time frame, but also a giant double bottom, which we know is one of the most bullish patterns historically for Bitcoin. I mean, when you see these double bottoms, I mean, not financial advice, but you know it is time essentially to go in, right? So what are these levels that we're looking at? Well, right here, as I said, there is that CME futures gap. We do have some support down at around the $39,700 level. Do I believe that will go down there? No. However, if we do enter that level right there, I would look to potentially put in a long with a tight stop loss. Now, if you are looking to do the breakout, the level for the breakout is around pretty much $46,000 even. So what you would want us to see is basically have the breakout, right? You want to have this breakout, come down, and then you want to build support here again. That's usually where you'd want to put your long in. You can try to front run it. You can put the long in and then just have a tight stop loss. The safer play would be to wait for the breakout, let it come back down and retest it, because not only is the $47,000 level so important, well, actually, like I said, well, no, it's 46,000 actually, but 46,000. And then we take this right here, you know, this trend, which is holding us down right now. And as long as we can maintain somewhere above this trend, then I do think that Bitcoin is probably going to go to $52,000, and it could go there relatively fast, because keep in mind, you know, the last time that we were at these levels and we did break above this key resistance, like I said in yesterday's video, it only took us 20 days to go. Just 20 days, guys. Literally a 50% increase to go from $44,000 to $67,000. And that happened in 20 days. So that's pretty much 3 weeks, roughly, right? So is it possible that we could see Bitcoin back at $66,000 in the next 3 weeks? It is possible. But as I said, we do have to break out above those levels. So Once again, if you are interested, make sure you check out the tutorials popping up above. And also, if you're interested, not just in the bonuses, but if you're trading on Prime XBT, which you can also trade stocks, oil, gold, things like that. If you're interested, you can do that using Bitcoin. They're offering a 50% discount if you use the code CryptoZombie, a 50% bonus actually. So like if you deposit a Bitcoin, they will give you half a Bitcoin to trade with. Now you can't withdraw it, you have to trade with it, but it's free money, if you're looking to get into that. So speaking about the Bitcoin bear is our good old buddy Gareth Soloway. So he was obviously over on Kitco News. He gets a lot of, you can see this video is already up to 53,000 views and climbing. Very popular analyst. He has been quite bearish on Bitcoin for quite some time, even though we broke the downtrend. And I just wanted to play this updated clip to show you exactly what he had to say and why he's still feeling this way about Bitcoin.
Let me ask you this, because a lot of people do respect your trades precisely because you're unemotional. You just read the charts. When data changes, so does your thesis. At what point, now you've been calling $20,000 as your downside target for a while. In fact, the last time you were on the show, you had said that sub $20,000 is even possible at this point.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Gareth. At what point would you say to yourself, $20,000, let's suppose we don't reach 20,000. I'm not saying we won't, but let's suppose that the charts don't reach 20,000 anytime soon. At what point would you say to yourself, that's no longer a realistic downside target, I'm revising my downside target, maybe at that point you turn bullish? What do the charts need to do to change your mind is basically my question.
So number one, we would have to go back up to the highs, right? So you get back to 69,000 and you take that out, then you have to say, okay, that needless to say, that wasn't a cycle of downward move. It must have been just an intra-cycle move, just like we saw from April into June and July and August. So I think that's number one, but there's more to it, right? So part of the thesis is the fact that the Fed is now dealing with inflation, right? So you have to look at that aspect, the fact that they're tightening monetary policy. And what that's doing is it's pulling money out of the system. So one of the big reasons in my book for why Bitcoin got as extended, as well as the stock market with crazy valuations, look at AMC or GME and all these things, is because there was so much money flowing in. It was free money everywhere. It was like airdrops of money from, 767s or 777s, just all over the place. If the Fed is really pulling back on that money, then you have to assume that there's less money to go into cryptocurrencies, to go into stocks. And so for me, not only would I need to see the highs get taken out to know that the cycle is over, but I would also need to see a Federal Reserve that starts printing again. So let's say all of a sudden the economy starts to really weaken and we go into recession and, inflation, let's say, has come back to 4 or 5%. Maybe the Fed then starts printing lots of money again to get us out of a recession. Then I would say, okay, game on again. Risk assets are on the table. They can start to inflate again. Here goes Bitcoin along with tech stocks.
So let me know if you guys are actually interested in having Gareth Soloway on the channel. We don't do a lot of interviews on this channel, but he's definitely someone who I think would be quite interesting to see his opinion. Maybe we could talk charts, explain sort of where we're coming from, what we're seeing, what he's seeing. I think it could be interesting. If you guys want Gareth to come on the channel, drop a comment below and let's see if maybe we can get Gareth to come on. Could be interesting, right? We don't really do a lot of interviews, but maybe we'll see if we could make that happen. That would be pretty interesting. So let's talk about the one thing that a lot of people were worrying about with the price as well. This is sort of like a little more fundamental, but barely 2 days after the U.S. Department of Justice seized the $3.6 billion worth of Bitcoin related to the Bitfinex hack that we spoke about yesterday, now there are a lot of people coming out saying, hey, now that you guys got the funds, we want our money back, right? In fact, according to a Bloomberg report, the Department of Justice has seen a massive surge in the number of people who want to regain their funds. But Bitfinex also would like to receive those funds back as well. The exchange noted that they had fully settled all affected users after the hack, right? Actually, it's kind of funny. If you didn't see this tweet by Rand Neuner, he said the Bitfinex hack was the best trade ever made. 119,000 Bitcoin was stolen for a value of around 76 million. Bitfinex repaid the victims the US dollar equivalent, 76 million, through their recovery token. So Bitfinex gets 3.6 billion 5.5 years later. So basically borrow 76 million, repay it slowly, get 3.6 billion 5.5 years later. So he said this was the best trade ever made. It's actually kind of funny, but nevertheless, there are a lot of customers who said that, this isn't fair. Why should they be paid in the dollar amount when they were holding Bitcoin? They should get their Bitcoin back. So people are worried. What happens if they do get their Bitcoin back? Could this be a sort of, black swan event where then they end up dumping it all over the exchanges? They get their bit. They're like, hey man, I made I made massive amounts of profit off of this. I'm just going to sell it, go retire on an island or something. Well, according to U.S. Attorney Kellen Dwyer, this is with a lot of people asking to get their funds. Essentially they noted that the legal process involved in the case could likely take a couple years. So, that process could take a heck of a long time. It could certainly be multiple years before anyone could see that cash. So this could end up looking a lot like a Mt. Gox type situation where, people are just worried about these coins hitting the exchanges, but really it's a process that's going to take a very long time. So it could just be a little bit of short-term fear that is affecting everyone. I mean, realistically speaking, the issue that we're really having more short-term is worrying about this CME futures gap and worrying about this, this resistance right here. But I'll tell you what, guys, if we do break through this, it could be pretty explosive for Bitcoin. I'm definitely keeping my eyes on that for sure. But yeah, that's essentially what's going on. And if you guys want to know essentially what's been going on in the background with the whales, according to Santiment, they say that mega whale addresses, which are holding more than 1,000 Bitcoin, have actually added a combined 220,000 Bitcoin, which is more than 1% of Bitcoin's total supply in just the past 2 months. So they said that this is the largest mega whale Bitcoin accumulation since September of 2019. So the whales are buying. They are buying right now. We can see the data on chain. So that is just something to pay attention to. And another thing is, according to cryptocurrency infrastructure provider Symbiont, Wall Street is already leaning heavily into crypto technology. And they say that the adoption is just beginning. In fact, Mark Smith, the CEO, he says that we've been at the tip of the spear from an enterprise blockchain perspective, looking at blockchain smart contract technology as tools to solve real world problems in regulated financial markets. Now, keep in mind, these guys currently manage about $2.3 billion worth of Vanguard's passive indices value through that network. So this is really big, guys. There's a lot of people interested right now. There are a lot of Bitcoin, blockchain, crypto adoption happening, and it is really, really massive. In fact, Binance recently just invested $200 million into Forbes. Yeah, guys, I'm talking about Forbes, okay? The 104-year-old magazine. They're getting involved, and they're saying they want to do this because they want to boost, you can see right here, consumer knowledge on Bitcoin. They want to bring Bitcoin to the masses. They want to, there's a lot of people still that are very misinformed or they don't understand Bitcoin. In fact, I speak to people every day still, and they know that I do this. They know that I've had a YouTube channel for 5 years. They know that I've been investing in Bitcoin even longer than that. And yet they still don't understand certain aspects of it. And it's like you're beating a dead horse. It's like, well, what happens if the internet goes out, or what about if it can get hacked, or what if there's an EMP, and it's like, they don't understand how nodes work, how the ledger works. And watch if somebody doesn't understand, tell them to get subscribed, watch the videos. But ultimately right here, they are trying to bring this to the masses. As part of the deal, Binance's chief communications officer and head of labs says that they will join the Forbes board of directors. According to Forbes CEO, the investment from Binance will help the firm get, quote, experience, network, and resources on the world's leading crypto exchange and one of the world's most successful blockchain innovators. And we also had CZ, he's obviously the CEO of Binance. He said, as Web3 and blockchain technologies move forward and the crypto market comes of age, we know that media is an essential element to build widespread consumer understanding and education. We look forward to bolstering Forbes' digital initiatives as they evolve into a next level investment insight platform. And guys, if that doesn't get you excited, look at who else is getting involved in the metaverse. That's right, McDonald's. They are the latest firm to be exploring the metaverse. In fact, recently, there were 12 trademarks which were filed on February 4th, and out of those 12, 11 of them were references to virtual restaurants, symbols, cafes, and other virtual services. The founder of Gerben Intellectual Property right here, he actually shared this tweet. You can go over and check it out. But he essentially, highlighted that the trademark indicated that the company behind the famous Golden Arches may plan to offer a virtual restaurant featuring actual and virtual goods and operating a virtual restaurant featuring home delivery. Now, I guess like you could be inside this virtual restaurant, you could place your order. You can't really eat a virtual hamburger though, can you? So ultimately, we still need that physical aspect, but Metaverse is a crazy thing. It's a crazy, crazy thing to consider. I see a lot of positives, but I also see some very scary negative aspects of the Metaverse too. There are some aspects of it that are a little bit scary, if you ask me. But then there's other aspects that I think are really amazing and awesome. So we'll see how this plays out, obviously. But somebody who is quite bullish on the Metaverse is Kevin O'Leary. And it was quite interesting in which sector he said he believed would be leading it.
You know, another interesting sector that's intertwined with crypto these days is esports. I wonder if you have any thoughts on the esports sector. Microsoft, for example, just bought Activision Blizzard. Huge deal. What are your thoughts? Is this a growing industry? Is it a bubble? Is it going to pop? Are you invested in it?
Yes, I am invested in it. I think there's a very interesting space, but the real direction of that is the metaverse. If you believe in the next 3 to 5 years when things continue to move online, particularly experiential advertising, you're going to find that in the metaverse. But where? It's going to manifest itself in gaming first. And so we're going to see a lot of gaming happen. And I think, you know, esports is a big part of that. I think this is the direction it's going in. Another reason you may want to think about Facebook, going back to that discipline, there's two directions of the metaverse. The unruled, uncurated metaverse, where you're a big brand, let's say Procter & Gamble, you could find yourself set up in the metaverse right beside a porn shop. That's not going to happen in Facebook, where they're going to curate the metaverse. That may have more value long term, because if I'm putting up a brand that I'm trying to protect, that means something to me, I don't want to put it up beside a liquor store maybe, or a porn shop, or whatever else is on the metaverse that's unregulated. Facebook probably will have the largest curated metaverse, maybe something to think about long term on that stock.
You could obviously see that the screen froze, and you know, David was kind of looking around like, what's going on? But yeah, I mean, the audio, you could see that he is bullish. That's why I am bullish on NFTs and Metaverse. And you know, I told you guys, obviously, you know, one of the most undervalued projects for me is still clearly Phantasma. Just personally, I think what they're doing is incredible. I think it's only a matter of time until everyone else realizes that. But I do want to end on the fact that Samsung has unveiled their latest flagship smartphone. And guess what? Yes, it does have crypto features and functionality. So they announced the Samsung Wallet at the Unpacked 2022 virtual event, which also saw the Galaxy S22 Ultra smartphone. So the wallet was touted to be able to access and explore complex digital products such as cryptocurrencies. It can also securely store personal identification like student IDs, driver's license, state IDs, house or car keys, credit and debit cards, boarding passes, and of course, vaccination records as well. The new wallet is in direct competition with Apple, the Apple Wallet, which also stores these sensitive things as well, except Apple has not introduced a crypto related wallet specifically, like integrated with their phone. I think once they do that, well, now you got Samsung and Apple, and that would definitely be absolutely massive for both of them. But as I said, guys, right here, very, very short term, having a look at this, obviously, the level that we're looking at right here, we are in fact at the critical resistance right now. As I'm making this video, we are looking for either that make or break moment. If we do have the breakdown, you know, to the downside, then the targets are obviously down around 41,700, with the base of it being right around 39,680, which in fact we would close the CME futures gap. I don't envision us going much lower than that. The absolute lowest I would imagine is, you know, we go to the bottom or right here where we had this support back in this level, and that's sitting at around 37,500 to 38,000. But if we fall any lower than that, then you know, then we're just looking into like a prolonged movement again, which whatever. But currently right now, what I am looking for is most likely, you know, not financial advice. I could be wrong. You know, look what happened this morning. Look what happened this morning. Look at this crazy chart. But what I do think is going to happen is I do think we're going to hit a little bit of resistance. I think we're going to pull back down into the low 40,000s, high 39,000s with the levels that I just told you. And then I do believe we're going to continue to the upside. But hey, man, maybe Gareth Soloway is going to be correct, and maybe we're going to go to 20,000. Who knows, right? Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. And, also, guys, like I said, if you are looking to trade, make sure that before you trade, especially if you're a beginner, I don't recommend using leverage, and I definitely don't recommend using your actual money. Use a paper account. You can use a test account, right? You can trade with nothing just to test it out. But make sure you check out the tutorials that I have that are popping up right here, right now. And until next time, stay crypto, and of course, peace out.